Hey, what is up, everybody? I'm JT with Trapper Barnes. Trapper, how are you?
Great, JT. How are you?
Man, I'm fantastic. Welcome, everybody, to the Listen Up podcast. We are the home of Room for Up, and more importantly, we are excited to be here. Trapper, can you believe that we're here, man?
JT, it's been a journey, a long one at that we've thought about this for quite some time to make this happen. So I'm excited.
Yeah, well, I tell you what. So now that we've got these new listeners here, and they're going to go on this journey with us, you're going to go on this journey with us. Tell them a little bit about how we got here in the first place.
Well, everybody has challenges in life, and whether that's personal or business, you just have to figure out how to come up with a solution, right?
Yeah.
And those solutions sometimes are in big brainstorming exercises to make sure that we get through that solution. We don't always come up with a solution, and this is exactly how Room for Up came about. Is we were talking about trying to get through an issue. How do we get there? We didn't have an answer for it at the end of the day. Stood up from the desk, and I just looked at you and said, "Well, JT, there's always room for up."
You did. And what followed that was probably 2 or 3 months of the most creative that I've ever felt in my life. And so, what was creative out of that? And you guys are going to hear this term a lot. We created what we call upisms,
Mm.
and upisms are just one, two, maybe even a three-word phrase that includes the word up. And yeah, it's catchy, but what we found was that when we were faced with a decision or when we had an area of life that we wanted to improve in, that 1 or 2 word phrase really helped us focus on what was important. So, like Trevor, can you give me an example of maybe what an upism or two might be?
Mm. Like lift up, yeah, lift up, show up. You got to get up some days when you don't want to get up, right? So just when we think about how they're going to encourage you to improve your life, like you can come up with your own upisms. We did. We had a whiteboard. When you talk about being creative, right? We had a whiteboard, guys, that every day one of us would grab a dry erase marker and we would start writing stuff down. We had a list out our ears, and it turned out to push us in this direction to talk about it.
Yeah, so let's tell everybody a little bit about how we tied upisms with improvement, self improvement, and really what it kind of came down to is there's 7 areas in our lives that when you affect change, when you move in a positive direction, the result of that is massive fulfillment. And one of the things that I love about Room for Up and upisms is the fact that we're not chasing happy. The reality is most of the world is telling you that you need to be happy. And there's nothing wrong with being
Yeah.
happy, but happy is a feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and feelings come and go. But when we chase joy and fulfillment, those are the things that, they're with you on the top of the mountain and they're with you in the valley.
That's right.
And so the 7 areas include, and I'll just look right over here. The 7 areas include our physical life, our
Yeah.
mental life, our mental health.
Yeah. Financial.
Financial, professional, social,
Yeah.
relational,
And physical.
and physical. And I love the physical because I think I always think that's a great place to start. We can talk about that later. But what we started doing was tying upisms to the actions that you can take absolutely within those 7 areas that are going to have a massive impact. But then what we found is there are some universal upisms, word ups that when you're in a situation where it's almost like you have analysis paralysis or the world's coming at you so fast, all you have to do is utter that upism, all that 1 or 2 word phrase, and it can put you right back where you need to be. And so our goal with this podcast is to, one, have it be conversational.
Absolutely.
This is not going to be a highly edited podcast that is welcome. This is going to be 2 guys who have made a lot of good decisions and a lot of bad decisions in their life. We've either win or we've learned.
Yep.
And
JT, right quick.
Yeah.
You said win or learn,
Yeah.
right? Explain what win or learn is, because we use this every day.
Okay. So for everybody out there, I think this is one of the most powerful things that you can ever adopt is we operate in a world, unfortunately, that you either win or you lose, and that nothing could be further from the truth.
Yep.
So the reality is, yes, we either win, but if we learn from our challenges and we learn from our mistakes and we learn from our bad decisions, did we really lose?
I'd say no.
No.
That's the purpose of it.
Absolutely.
You learn, you lean towards more of a win.
That's right. The only time we could actually lose would be if we didn't learn from our mistakes and correct them. So yeah, you would. That's almost that's a phrase you'll hear me utter a lot. Win or learn.
Yep.
And I don't know, the way it all comes together, I think it's beautiful. So yeah, we look at 7 major areas of our lives. We look at universal areas of our lives. We look at big areas, small areas, and there's always an upism. There's always that simple to understand, simple to apply phrase that can just, in and amongst the chaos of this world, it's moving so fast, it can just focus you in a second and remind you what's important and what's impactful.
Well, I'm glad you said that because you just made me think of something.
What's that?
And I think it's a great kind of relation to what you're talking about, right? When we're talking about an upism that can get you self-centered, can get you back into being focused on what it is. And think about it as a GPS. You get your iPhone or your Android or whatever tickles your fancy. I don't know. But you take it and you put it in Google Maps or you put it in Apple Maps. And the destination is where you need to get to, but you have to start somewhere, right?
That's right.
And along the way, do we hit roadblocks? Do we run into a construction zone?
If you drive like I do.
Yes. There was a construction zone that made us detour, right? And what I love about it is I use that scenario because that's exactly what an upism is supposed to be. It is your destination point, but it's going to hold you accountable to bring you back.
Yeah, I love it. So in review, here's what we've got. We want to get together, laid back, informal, conversational. We want to help people achieve progress. Not perfection. We want to help them achieve progress. We want to help them get 1% better every day because that's what we strive for. We're going to use simple to understand phrases, simple to apply phrases that we call upisms. Our hope is that we can focus on 7 major areas of life, but not exclude any of the others.
Absolutely.
And have a lot of fun along the way, celebrating the wins and acknowledging the learns and rerouting like a good GPS would, so that we get to the ultimate destination.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I want you to think about this, like I want everybody to understand that you can't confuse progress with movement because
pull that thread, big guy.
Yeah.
What? Tell me about that.
I heard this a long time ago, and I can't give who credit told it to me or I watched it on something I can't remember, but you can confuse movement with progress. Because here's the thing, you can think you're making progress, but you can run in place and never move.
But you're moving. You think you're moving.
Moving, but you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I love that these are the little things that that extend the destination. Like how long is it going to take us to get there? We don't know. But it's perfect.
So let me ask you a question. So who needs to be listening to this podcast, or who do you think will get benefit out of this podcast? Because there's a million podcasts out there, man.
I'm going to ask you this.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question to answer your question with a question.
Okay.
Who doesn't need to listen to this podcast?
I already think everybody in the whole world does. Because here's the thing. I think there are so many people out there that are struggling, that they feel like they've hit a brick wall that they will never be able to climb, go in, over, around, whatever the case may be. And that's just not true. I do think what happens is people get so overwhelmed with what they think is success that they forget that, it's not about this dream. It's not about this it's not about this social media idea that you've got in your head. Like, it's about the journey. And my hope is that we can give people some tools and some resources to navigate that journey successfully. They can have a beautiful view along the way, and get to where they want to go.
Absolutely.
That's exactly
Absolutely.
right. So I'm excited, brother.
Man, I'm super excited. And here's what I'll tell you
Okay.
is to move forward in this journey, you got to step up.
So you just laid out our first upism.
That's right.
You got, say it again. You got to what?
You got to step up.
What does that mean if you're listening?
We talk about stepping up as being a parent, stepping up as being a great friend, stepping up and encouraging someone to be their best, right? Maybe stepping up and saying, hey, I got to get better myself. And so that's what this journey is going to be about.
Okay. So the upism that we want everybody to remember today is step up. Step up. One of my favorite quotes is the, what is it? A journey of 1,000. I'm going to butcher this, of course, but the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, we're all on a journey, but to start the journey, you got to take the step. And so, like, my encouragement, if you're listening, whether you're hurting, dissatisfied, and here's the other thing too. And I don't mean to ramble, but the reality is this: at the heart of Room for Up, what we believe is that regardless of where you're at in life, you could be at the top of the mountain or the bottom of the heap. Regardless, there's always room for up.
That's right.
And that's why that phrase, that's why when you said that in that office in 2022, it did something like I just knew with every fiber of my being that phrase, what just took place, was going to be an instrumental part of my life. But what I hoped and prayed was that it would be an instrumental part in a lot of people's lives. And that's why this journey to this podcast is so exciting. So, man, first off, you've heard of beautiful accidents. If that was a beautiful accident, man.
It was more of a train wreck.
All right. So step up.
Yep.
Step up. So here's what I've heard you say. There's a lot of different areas, but the most important area is just to step up and decide to change. To step up and make a decision that you're not satisfied.
That's right.
With where you're at.
Yes.
Is that easy?
To identify it? No. It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Because you have to be truthful to yourself.
Yeah.
People outside the walls or outside of your day in and day out can maybe see it. But I got to ask you, how many people are going to hold you accountable other than yourself? Maybe your circle of 5? Maybe. Depends on your circle of 5, right?
Yeah.
They may encourage you to do a different thing. Nah, you ain't got to do that. But that's another story that we'll get into.
Yeah. Boy, the importance of your circle can never be underestimated.
Absolutely.
You said something a minute ago. You said it involves just like being honest with yourself. And the first thing that I thought about when you said that was, and I don't know if the listeners out there, I don't know if you can identify with this, but man, I'm going to be honest with you. The person that has lied to me the most in my life is me. Whether it was that little voice telling me you can't do this, whether it was that voice telling me you're not good enough, you're not smart enough to do this, or the flip side of that equation is that little voice saying, you got this, you don't need to put in the work.
Yeah.
You've achieved X, Y, or Z doing it this way. You don't have to change the way that you approach challenges.
Sure.
And that's a bold place and a dangerous place to be.
Yep.
So it takes courage to step up. It takes work to step up.
Yep.
So I guess then, what is one challenge that you would give to our listeners, to anybody that's listening to this, relative to step up? What's one challenge you would throw out there to them that they cut this podcast off? They're sitting in their car, they're sitting at their house. What's one thing that they could do to step up?
Well, I think, James, I said it a while ago, turn this off, sit in your car, go to your study, bedroom, whatever, wherever your quiet spot is, and then identify what is the most challenging thing that is in your life today that you need to step up and be better at.
Yeah. And you want to write it down.
Absolutely. Write it down and then and start that journey. Like
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So our goal is to help people every step of the way.
Yep.
So if they'll take that first step, they'll write down what that biggest challenge is, then we will begin to go alongside them in this journey.
Absolutely.
And step by step, 1% at a time, get better in every area of life. That sounds pretty fun to me.
Sounds pretty fun to me.
All right.
I love it.
All right.
Well, guys, hey, here it is. The Listen Up Podcast. It's JT and Trapper. And I think we sign off right here, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
So listen up to level up, my friends. We'll see you the next episode.
See ya.